Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well today. Let's take a look at transfer payments and understand their role to promote equity in a particular country. And these are the payments, right, by the government to people in order to increase equity in a country. And remember, equity is not equality, equity is fairness. So the government is transferring money. Think of a wealthy person transferring money from a wealthy person's pocket. They've sucked it out by some sort of, usually some progressive tax system. Now the government has it, and then they're going to transfer that income to someone else. And that other someone else is going to be somebody in a lower income level, right? And in order to increase fairness, and I like to think about it as increase opportunity for those who earn less in a nation. So transfer payments, this has to do with how the government transfers the money they receive via their tax system, right? And therefore how the government spends its money. Okay. So a good definition of transfer payments, if you put it in like econ language, transfer payments are payments from the government to an individual for which no good or service is exchanged. Rather, income is redistributed from one group to another. And I like to, I don't know, it's lots of, sometimes I have money in one pocket and then I transfer it somewhere else to my other pocket. So I have money in my left hand pocket and I transfer it to my right pocket. Or maybe I'm worried I'm going somewhere and I'm worried about getting pickpocketed. And so I look into my pocket and I have, $50 and I transferred some of that $20 of the $50 into my other pocket to redistribute my income. So now if I get, now it's more evenly balanced, right? Nothing's happened. I've just transferred money from one pocket to another, in case of my ridiculous analogy, right? In order not have to get pickpocketed twice in order to end up with no money. So why did I do that? To have more equity in the distribution of the money in my pockets. So the intention there, right? Nothing happened. I didn't buy anything. And there's no good, there's no service exchange. It's just a redistribution from one pocket, maybe my rich pocket, to my poor pocket. My left hand pocket had $50 in it, and I made it. I redistributed some of its income to my other pocket, and now I have more equity in terms of the money in my pockets. That's a stupid analogy. I just made that up. That's a stupid analogy, but it really works. Okay, so if you think about your left hand pocket as like wealthy people, and your right hand pocket is not having any money, the lower income people, well, the government's going to redistribute some of that wealth. Okay, and the intention of the government is primarily to provide greater equity through increased opportunities for low income households. Okay, so here is 6 different examples that would promote equity. So the government has tax money and they're going to transfer it, and the programs that they would, the reasons they would do it in the programs are listed here below. And I tell you over and over, listen, you don't need to know all six, right? You need to know three of these things. If you know three of these things, you're going to be silent on an evaluation of how governments transfer money. And the easiest ones, really, I think, and you go back and back and you can make yourself feel like you're not really trying hard. Some students are like, yeah, but I always say that. And it's like, look, in econ, you don't try to be cute on answers, right? Don't get sophisticated. Seriously, don't get creative, right? Transfer payments, governments, the easiest ones to remember that will have the biggest benefit to society as a whole are education subsidies, right? The government transferring money to provide education to people who otherwise wouldn't have it, right? Healthcare subsidies, a healthier society for government will mean more productive workers. Yeah, that's easy to remember. So healthcare and education. And lastly, unemployment benefits. If you remember those three, and I haven't even talked about what they are yet, but if you just remember those three, you're going to be styling when it comes to being able to clearly articulate um, the usefulness of transfer payments. You don't have to know all six, okay? But here they are, yeah? So unemployment benefits, right? Unemployment benefits, why would they do that? How are they equity enhancing, right? Well, unemployment benefits would limit the fall in income experienced by individuals who lose their job. And if any of your family members have ever lost their job, unemployment benefits actually can keep you afloat for a decent period of time. And most industrialized countries have unemployment benefits, and it's not a whole lot of money, but it's enough so that you don't maybe lose your home, or you can keep some sort of standard of living in the meantime while you're looking for a job. Okay, so unemployment benefits are a good example of transfer payments, right? So are Social Security payments, and Social Security payments provide income to individuals in old age, and it reduces poverty among the elderly. And if any of you are from the United States, um, people who are retired in the United States receive from their Social Security, if they were a good worker all of their life, somewhere around maybe $2,000 a month. And it doesn't sound like that much, right? That's only $25,000 a year, $24,000 a year. But that is enough income to make a huge difference in people's lives. And if you have two workers in your house and they're retiring, next thing you know, well, 24 times 24 is 48. All of a sudden, you're at $48,000 a year. That's plenty of money for most people to live on per year. And that comes from Social Security benefits, and of course, that reduces poverty for them. And that's something that governments would like to promote, reduction of poverty. And transfer payments are useful in doing that. They promote equity. All right, nutritional subsidies, just to help households afford healthier food and improve health. A lot of nutritional subsidies go through public schools. At least in the U.S., if you earn underneath a certain amount of money, your children can get a free lunch at school. That's an example of a nutritional subsidy. Okay, of course, educational subsidies. Those are scholarships. Those are loans. That's money made available to low-income people so they can afford a college education. Barack Obama, the current president of the United States, the man became took advantage of loans and grants and money available to his mother as a result of the fact that she was a teacher, a single mother teacher, and he was able to look what he did with his life, right? It changed his life. He was able to acquire the education that was necessary in order to be more versatile in the workforce. And of course, he did many things, and of course, he ended up being the president of the United States. And would that have happened without the educational subsidies? Maybe. But did it help? Does it help the nation overall if you have thousands of people like Barack Obama who may have not gone to college, yet they did as a result of educational subsidies? Yeah, of course. Okay, that helps the society as a whole for sure, and therefore it's a useful type of transfer payment. Healthcare subsidies, of course, they reduce the cost of healthcare for lower income individuals. This could be something in the United States, they call it Medicare, and so if you earn under a certain amount of money, you can have free healthcare from the U.S. government. These are, national healthcare programs, which is a really controversial thing that's gone on in the U.S. for the last few years, but most industrialized nations have had healthcare national healthcare programs for years. The governments have an interest in providing a basic level of healthcare for its citizens, not for political reasons to be nice. Yeah, it's cool, and you can get reelected with it, but also because a healthier society means that people live longer, a higher standard of living, and general wellness in your community. And healthcare subsidies are a great example of transfer payments. And then lastly, on this list anyway, welfare benefits. Of course, this is to provide the poorest households with an income so they can purchase the most basic necessities. And these are the types of benefits you would get. Basically, in industrialized nations, welfare benefits allow people to avert and not starve. Yeah? So they can have the most basic of necessities through government providing them with some money in order to get by. Okay, so transfer payments are a really important idea. This is building on, of course, this is after the government collects these taxes, how do they spend them? What is a useful way of spending them? Of course, this is entirely politically charged. I mean, you can see all of these things. You're taking, imagine if you distributed money from your rich pocket to your poor pocket, but then you had to spend money in the poor pocket, right? In your right hand pocket, like you could get in a big argument with how you're going to spend that money, even with yourself. You could argue with yourself, like, how am I going to spend this $20? There's a lot of different ways you could, and it could benefit very different people, but you have to make a decision. And so these transfer payments and these programs for governments are really politically charged. And of course, after you start providing a particular transfer payment to a group of people, it's really hard politically to take them away. You could not take away Social Security benefits from people in the United States. You would have a massive political uprising. So once they're in place, transfer payments are definitely difficult to remove politically. Okay, I hope you thought this video was helpful, and we'll talk to you in a bit.